All our ancestors, I mean literally all our ancestors, had an intermolar width in the low 50s, and a very similar sort of.
The human face develops in a very specific way. Wide jaws, large nasal cavities, forward-grown midfaces, room for teeth, and room for air. But that has changed. Crowded teeth have become normal, braces are expected, and mouth breathing is common. We are the only species where crooked teeth and obstructed airways are widespread and normalized. In the archaeological record, recessed midfaces are exceptionally rare. Mewing promises that it can fix this craniofacial crisis. And it sounds convincing and logical. That's why I wanted to make this video. The more I look into bone biology, the more I see mewing as cope. Bone is not soft tissue. Its stiffness exists for one reason: to resist deformation. Bone responds to stress, yes, but only within strict biological limits. The skull itself tells the rest of the story. At birth, the human skull is not a single solid structure. It's a collection of bones connected by sutures, designed to allow rapid growth of the brain and face. During childhood, the maxilla grows forward and downward in response to genetic programming and functional demand. By late puberty, craniofacial sutures progressively ossify. The mid-palatal suture fuses. At this point, the maxilla becomes a rigid structural unit. That means once fused, soft tissue pressure does not separate the bone. At that point, only expanders or surgery can move bone. The misleading part is when Mike Mew shows ancient skulls with wide jaws, forward faces, straight teeth. And the conclusion is that tongue posture created these features. Those skulls did not become wide in adulthood. They developed that way from infancy. Anthropological collections show this again and again. Hunter-gatherer populations exhibit broad dental arches and robust facial bones. This is because of prolonged breastfeeding and diets rich in fat-soluble vitamins and minerals. Their faces were built under nutrition and hormonal signaling during growth, not corrected later. Weston Price understood that facial structure is largely determined before adulthood. Once development is compromised, it cannot simply be fixed with posture. Look at this bone structure. The maxilla isn't recessed. The palate is a wide U-shape, not a narrow V. The nasal aperture is wide. The mandible is substantial, with ample room for all 32 teeth, often in near-perfect alignment, without an orthodontist. A wide maxilla means a wide nasal cavity. A wide nasal cavity means efficient, turbulent-free airflow. These people weren't mouth breathers because they didn't have to be. Their airway was already optimized. The Mewing claim is simple. Consistent tongue pressure could move the maxilla forward, widen the palate, and reshape the face. But claims require mechanics. The maxilla is fused to the cranium by interdigitated sutures. These are the growth sites. And yes, they work like other growth sites. To move the maxilla, you need massive, consistent mechanical loads of pressure delivered via titanium screws anchored directly into the bone. The tongue generates trivial force compared to orthopedic expansion, while surgical advancement requires physical separation of bone. This is the level of force required to move bone. And then there is the mouth breathing mythos. Treating mouth breathing as a bad habit that causes a recessed jaw. Mouth breathing is a symptom, not a choice. Trying to fix this with tongue posture ignores the structural bottleneck. When facial growth is understimulated during its most sensitive windows, the results are predictable. Smaller maxillae, narrower nasal cavities, reduced airway volume, and when airflow is restricted, the body adapts. The mouth opens. The tongue drops to prevent suffocation. You can test this if you have a small airway. Try placing your tongue on the roof of your mouth. You won't be able to breathe. You can't mew your way out of a constricted airway. It doesn't work like that. What you can do is stop the damage from progressing. And if your sutures haven't fused yet, prevention is everything. Focus on early intervention, hormones, and nutrients.
And the narrower your upper jaw, the narrower your nasal passages. Upstairs, downstairs, downstairs the mouth, upstairs the nose. One piece of bone separating the nose from the mouth. Narrow upper jaw, narrow nasal passages. Narrow upper jaw, small pharyngeal airway because the upper jaw is set back. And so if we see a girl like this, I mean, you can see her posture. She's an habitual mouth breather. She's just closed her mouth with photos. And what are you treating? You're treating this, or are you treating the teeth? So she can't breathe through her nose. Her nose is small and her pharyngeal airway is small. So that's what we do as a dentist. We make the top jaw bigger and also bring it forwards. I don't want to go into the technicalities of that, but making a top jaw bigger and bringing it forwards, that was 12 weeks between those two images there.
Now, some of you will say mewing improved your face, and that's not entirely false. Better posture can improve neck position, lip seal, and muscle tone. It can reduce mouth breathing at night, but that's not skeletal change. That's cosmetic alignment of soft tissue. I'll also make a video on thumb pulling because this is where logic completely breaks. From what I've seen, there is no credible mechanism by which it could move bone. Let me know what you think of mewing. Debate is welcome, and as always, thanks for watching.